My name is James Shillinglaw. I've been doing these panels for a bit. I'm with Insider Travel Report. It's a fairly new publication, which I founded a couple years ago, and my team is here taking video. So if you fall asleep during the panel, because you won't, because these guys are great. If you just happen, you had a hard night, you can watch it on video on Insider Travel Report, all of it. So we're going to talk about luxury here. And let me introduce our panel first. And to my right, we have Becky Powell, president of Protravel International, which is quite literally the largest luxury selling travel agency in the US, maybe the world, member of Travel Leaders Group, and also a Virtuoso member. And then to Becky's left is Jon Grutzner, who is, in this form, he's president of Insight Vacations, but he also is president of a fairly new brand into the market, although it's a few years old now, but really is going into its own, called Luxury Gold. And both those companies are owned by the Travel Corporation, which you may know for Trafalgar and African Travel and a whole lot of other things, Uniworld, Red Carnation. So Jon is now heading up the Luxury Gold side of things as well. And then to my left, outside there, is Carmen Roig, who is the Senior Vice President, Sales and Marketing for Crystal Cruises, which is one of the premier luxury cruise lines in the world. In fact, I just got off the newly refurbished Crystal Serenity, and it is marvelous. You will enjoy it amazingly, and your customers will as well. And then, last but not least, by popular demand, returning Ignacio Maza from last year's panel, who is the Executive Vice President of Signature Travel Network. And Ignacio actually has responsibility over all luxury for Signature Travel, which is as you know, a large consortium, actually a cooperative of top travel agencies. So there you have it, that's our panel, and we hope in the next hour you're gonna enjoy what they have to offer and what they have to say about luxury. We've had this panel last year, it was great. And let's get started. I'm going to give each of you very quickly about 2 seconds to tell a little bit about your companies. I've said a little bit more, but let's start with you, Carmen. Crystal, just quickly tell us about what you have.
Absolutely. So good morning, everybody, and thank you for having me here. Crystal, we're going to crystallize you before it's over. So it's a portfolio you've probably just known us as Crystal Cruises. That was the first 25 years of the legacy of the brand. No longer. Now it's a brand portfolio, one trusted brand. It's Crystal Cruises, Ocean Cruises, Crystal River Cruises, Crystal Yacht Cruises, Crystal Expedition Cruises, and even Air, with Crystal Air Cruises and Luxury Air.
Amazing. And I've been on a lot of it, and it's a wonderful product. And Ignacio.
I am with Signature Travel Network. The network has been in business for 63 years. We're about an $8 billion business, and we have a database of about 4.5 million consumers, and we offer an extensive range of luxury travel products worldwide, and our whole mission is to match the experience to the wishes of the client and exceeding expectations. To us, that's what luxury is.
And then Jon, talk a little bit about Luxury Gold, and even Insight if you'd like.
So first of all, welcome, thank you, and it's good to have an event that's down the street from where our office is, so all of us on this panel are flying planes, trains, and automobiles, so it's good to be home here. Luxury Gold is part of the Travel Corporation. We're one of the largest privately held travel companies in the world. We move about 2 million people a year. Luxury Gold is a relatively new brand. It's existed for about a decade within the Insight Vacations portfolio. Only in the last 3 years has kind of stepped off onto its own. We have worldwide guided vacations with Luxury Gold. Here we focus in on culinary experiences as well as VIP exclusive experiences.
And last but not least, Becky.
Thank you, James. I'm Becky Powell, Protravel, as James said, a member of Virtuoso, largest producer. So that means that our 900 advisors can really command the best for their clients. And also we work with wonderful partners like Crystal and Insight to make sure that our clients have the best products available. We have 22 offices throughout US and UK, and just recently opened a new office in Austin, Texas, which John got to see Wednesday night, and Orange County, California, and more to come in 2019.
Thank you, Becky. Now, I always ask this question. We've been asking it for years, and exactly how do we define luxury travel today? You know, is it the experience travelers get in hotels, cruise ships, tours, and destinations? Is that high level of amenities and services that they get? What is luxury today? Let's start with you, Carmen. What's your definition?
So I think the word luxury is the most overused word in our industry.
Right.
At Crystal, so we just launched a new brand campaign. If you hadn't seen it, just 2 weeks ago, and we did a lot of research. We actually partnered with MRM McCann here in New York to come out with this gorgeous campaign, and all their research, all their data, focus groups with consumers, with our society members, with our travel advisors, so even in the distribution channel. And it's such a simple campaign, and why no one thought of it before is beyond me, but it's really easy. Crystal, where luxury is personal. What we found, that is what luxury is. It's very personal. Everybody has great hardware. We say it's not about thread count, but what counts. And what counts today is really the experiences that you deliver, and that's delivered through service, and it's delivered by the software. That's our people. So time and time again, everybody who was surveyed said it is the amazing, cruise lines call it crew, we call it our onboard family. They're executing, they're delivering. When you sail on a Crystal brand, whatever one of the ships it is, whether it's river, yacht, expedition, ocean, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, when you step aboard, you're part of the family, you're welcomed home. That is what luxury is to our clients. It is that personal attention, that experience that we deliver that I wish I could bottle it, but it can't be matched, quite simply.
Great definition, personal and experiential. Ignacio, definition of luxury.
Agree with Carmen that luxury is up to the individual. Every person has a different idea of what luxury is. I think there are certain things that one expects when we speak of luxury travel, so quality, service, privacy, all of those things. But I think it goes beyond that today, because I think some of the key words, I would say, number one, enrichment. The experience has to enrich you after, whether it's one night in London or a week in Botswana on safari. I think it's also about authenticity, about experiencing things that are local and rooted wherever you might be, and also access, that you're able to get into places and have experiences that are not, commonly available to other people. And it's also, privacy, and I would say meaningful. It really has to resonate with you and your passions and desires. I mean, I could go on, but I'll leave it at that.
We'll get to the rest, believe me. And John, for you, what is luxury? And especially now, you have a fairly new operation, Luxury Gold. And how do you approach that?
So for us, we kind of look and just kind of build off of what Ignacio and Carmen said about authenticity. We think that that's very important. And it's really about making that human connection. More and more, what we're seeing, the discerning guest is looking to go to a destination or culture and meet with the local people and meet with that, learn about their cultures and their culinary practices. So it's about a human connection. It's about exclusivity. They want to have these ungoogleable events. And
I thought everything's Googleable, by the way. That's the problem.
I can only say ungoogleable in the morning. After I start drinking in the afternoon, it's a very difficult word to say. So, there. But it's those things that you can't go online and do yourself. They're looking at the packaged programs to have these seamless experiences where they can have exclusivity. So it's not just going to the Vatican, but it's going up the Abante staircase and going there after hours and walking in the footsteps of the Pope. So those type of experiences that you can't do on your own, you can't create on your own. So it's about human connection, it's about exclusivity, and it's about experiential travel.
Okay, and finally, Becky, I hope we left some things for you to say. I'll give you the next question. So
we are definitely seeing luxury being more emotional purchases versus financial. Just as everyone said, clients are looking for experiences. They also are looking to work with brands that they trust. Their time is very precious. Today, especially Americans, don't take as vacations like they should. And so when they do take that time, they want to make sure that they're really spending it a quality time, connecting, as everyone said. So emotions versus finance is really a trend in luxury travel.
No, I would agree. And then, like I said, what is a vacation, Becky? I don't know what that is. We're in the business. We don't know. And let's start with you on this next question, which is, who is that luxury traveler today? Who are the customers that we should be targeting when selling luxury? And are there different types of luxury customers that the travel advisors in this audience should be targeting?
Well, really, luxury is across all age categories. There's no longer just, the luxury or the baby boomers.
How do those millennials afford that luxury travel? That's what I want to know.
Well, they all make a lot of money now because they're working in the tech industry. And, they've traveled all their lives with their families. I mean, today, when you hear of how many countries a young person has visited, it's amazing. So, and also families are taking their kids out of school. They're seeing that travel is really an education. It makes their children more global citizens, more aware. So the luxury traveler could be a 5-year-old child that has told their parents where they want to go on their next trip.
That's a scary thought.
It is a scary thought, but it happens. So it's really across all age categories. So
wonderful. Now, John, who do you target, and where do you see the luxury travelers coming from? Who are they?
First of all, Becky, I hope you don't talk to my daughter. I don't want her to tell me where to go on my next vacation, but I think that might be happening as she turns 14 here. Where are they coming from?
Who are they?
Who are they? Well, it's interesting. As we look at who we're sourcing, we look at two kind of categories. We refer to as the upper crusters, which is...
Upper crusters?
The upper crusters.
Okay.
If you're from the UP. The upper crusters. There. But that is America's most desirable addresses, or the most affluent, where you would traditionally put in that category of luxury here. And as Carmen said, that's sort of the most overused word, I think, in the industry right now. But then also we look at more of the cosmopolitans, and those are the younger family mix that we're seeing that are coming in. But more and more, as we're working with our frontline travel advisors, and that we always recommend that you use a travel advisor, is that it's not about the demographic, it's about the psychographic. And I think that that's been one of the things that we've worked with our travel advisors when they're sourcing that high-value guest, is don't just ask, what do you drive or where do you live there. You're trying to find out what motivates that guest. And so I live in a neighborhood, all the homes are about the same price. But if you look at the driveways, there's someone that's driving a very expensive Mercedes-Benz, and then you look next door and there's someone that's buying or driving a 15-year-old Honda Civic. Even though they're in the same demographic, there's a different psychographic on what they choose to motivate them. And travel is a big part about that. We're seeing that is a social equity right now that people are looking for. So I would caution you when you're sourcing that guest to go beyond that demographic and look at what that psychographic is.
And Ignacio, who is this luxury travel, and who should we be targeting?
I think in general, if you had to pick one customer segment, I would target the baby boomers. I mean, whether
even today, right?
Even today, because
we're all getting older, but I don't know.
A couple of things to consider. Baby boomers control over 60% of all the wealth in this country. So for a while, your main target audience is going to be the baby boomers. There's no question that there are some wealthy young people coming up, but in general, if you have to generalize, I wouldn't target millennials necessarily, because don't forget they're sitting on over $1 trillion in student debt. And so minor detail. So
which they may never pay, actually.
Which, well, I don't know. I wish them well. But you need to look at your main core audience, and if you look across most luxury products, it is usually the baby boomers. But you also have what I call your aspirational affluent, the person who may not necessarily live on Park Avenue or Beverly Hills, but wants to have that experience, wants to travel on Crystal, wants to have a better experience, and is willing to pay for it. I would target not so much a demographic, but I would target the passion, because I think people will go to the ends of the earth if it's something that speaks to them, whether that's art or architecture or food and wine or whatever it is. And coming back to millennials, it interests me that they're not so interested in buying homes or buying cars or things like that, but they do have no problem spending $250 on lunch at Per Se, because it's going to be on Instagram and I want to tell all my friends about it, and it's going to
But they won't eat the food, they'll just take the photos.
Well,
That's
that happens too. The food gets cold. But so there are people that are willing to spend, even though they don't have the income, on a luxury experience, because that's what drives them.
Absolutely. Now, Carmen, I'll give you the last word on this. And then
Yeah, so all of us have really hit it. It's not one size fits all, it's one size fits one. And as I think of luxury and our guest on board, it runs the gamut, it's everybody. So I just had the pleasure of being on my vacation. Yes, I took one.
you took a vacation.
Phenomenal 16 days on Crystal Serenity with my family on vacation. And I'll tell you, it was a melting pot to see who our guests are. And they come from all walks of life. And by the way, they are the working affluent. It is not, I love to say this, I tell my kids, you know I'm old when they say, what is Gilligan's Island, Mom? What do you mean? Thurston Howell. It's not the Thurston Howell image that people think. It's not that. It is the working affluent. I agree with you, Ignacio. It is about life lists. We don't call them bucket lists. It's life lists. About living. It's about ensuring that you are collectors of experiences and you want to share that with who matters most, which is normally your family. So even though we're not targeting the millennials per se, make sure they get rid of all that debt, at the end of the day, they come with their families, they come with their parents, they come with their grandparents.
And they want to come back.
And they want to come back, absolutely. So at the end of the day, it's ensuring that we have some brand experience. And by the way, our research shows when they go on Crystal 3 times, they'll never go anywhere else. They're with us for life.
And they can also go to different products.
Absolutely.
And let's stick with you because the next question is, we've really seen such a dramatic growth over the past few years after a lull in the luxury cruise fleets. We're also entering a period where this new category of luxury expedition cruising is just exploding. In the next few years, we're going to see even more. You have one ship coming up. How are all the high-end cruise lines sort of repositioning themselves in this market? And we'll lead with you because you are the cruise line rep on this.
Thank you. So ironically, and you mentioned expedition. Expedition is big, and yet you see the hardware in the expedition category is not brand new, right? It's not. We have our Endeavor 1 coming out next August. I can't believe it's just a year away. Endeavor 2 will be making announcements shortly, and Susan's in the room, so I can't disclose when, possibly February,
you
March.
can just tell us between us.
Insider insights. Look at her. She's giving me a hairy eyeball over there. Yeah, she harnessed me. At the end of the day, in the expedition category, for us, it's phenomenal to enter the category because we have ocean cruisers that we survey that want to do these adventures experience, but they want them in luxury, right? They want to have the same crystal DNA, so they want a Palm Court. They want to have Nobu when they do expedition. They just want to make sure that they're in the comfort, in what I call the embrace of our brand, and that allows us to get in there. But for luxury cruise lines specifically, I mean, we don't have the access like some of the contemporary or premium brands do, because they do have a lot of access, they have deep pockets. So for us, really, the funnel is filled by premium brand suite categories, and they just step up to the luxury brand. And once we get them, because by the way, there is a difference in what all-inclusive is and what the inclusions are. So at the end of the day, once they step up to any of our luxury brands, whether it's Crystal or any other cruise brand, cruising is so incredibly customer-centric, they're not going to have a bad experience.
And you also are expanding in the big ocean. You're going to have another big ocean coming
Correct,
up.
the Crystal
and
Diamond.
You just finished a whole string of expansion in river.
Absolutely. We came, hard and strong, right? Yeah. We weren't in the river market 3 years ago, and now we have 5 river ships. And we have the beautiful Crystal Esprit, so the yacht's doing fabulously.
Fantastic. Now, Ignacio, any comments on the expansion of luxury cruise fleets, luxury expedition cruise fleets?
Absolutely. We think that this is one of the largest trends in the luxury space right now. And believe it or not, there are over 30 luxury or expedition ships that are being built between now and 2022. So you're going to be hearing a lot about a lot of not only Crystal, but also Silver Sea, Celebrity, Lindblad, Le Ponant, and Seabourn are all ordering ships that are going to roll out starting this spring, going into the next couple of years. But a lot of the focus is also on new experiences for the guests. For example, Seabourn launched a program called Ventures, where you're on a Seabourn ship, but you also have the opportunity to go on Zodiacs and kayaks and go on adventures in Alaska. You also have land-based programs. For instance, Silver Sea rolled out a program last year called Couture Collection, where you go to very remote areas like Bolivia's Uyuni or Mongolia, where you attach to the cruise, and then you have this over-the-top experience, and really reimagining, the existing fleet so that it is as good a product as it possibly can be. So you have a lot of activity in this area. I think we're only at the beginning of the boom, and you're going to be hearing more about this in the next couple of years.
Yeah, and it's amazing. Now, John, you're not a cruise guy. You're a tour guy, I guess. But what's your view of this expansion in the cruise luxury fleet? And do you see these people as potential customers?
I see it's a great entry product into land.
He used to be a cruise guy,
I
don't
used to
forget
work-
that.
I used to work for Carmen, so I have to be very nice there.
He was my partner in profit.
No, but I do think that there's more crossover. I think if you would look 5-10 years ago, people would say, I'm a cruiser, I'm a land person. I think now it's more about that destination, how they want to experience that destination. And I think that the idea of following your passion is really what the different programs are about. I mean, if you want the ship that every day you wake up and you're in a different port, the cruise option is great. If you want to spend more time in a destination, we think that land lends itself very well to that.
Although now cruising is staying overnights, and they're doing all, especially on the high end. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you get that one. I know. I'm not a fan of just a port a day.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful product. My wife and I enjoy both the cruise and the land portion of it, and we see that the land are trying to do more to bring the destination on life in the onto the vessel where the experience is. And the other thing that we're seeing is more and more that the guests are doing a hybrid program where it's not just a river cruise, it's not just a deep water cruise, but they're combining the land portion with deep water. And again, it's about trying to experience that destination, and we feel it depends on the country on if it's better to do by river, by land, or by deep.
Well, they're definitely. I was going to ask you. People are now taking a cruise, and I mean they have a lot of time on their hands. They're taking a 7-day cruise. They're going for a 7-day land. They're doing pre and post and all kinds of things, and I know you offer stuff like that. So.
God bless those people.
Yeah. So Becky, what's your view last, and then I'm going to get to the next question with you.
Well, cruising is the largest sector of growth for Protravel. We had double-digit growth last year, and again, it's based on, I think, the number of new cruise ships in the market, as well as river and expedition cruising changing the perception of what a cruise is. Clients are looking, again, as I said, very intimate experiences where these smaller ships actually give them that opportunity. But also, I think cruise lines have done an excellent job of repositioning what they're all about. So a lot of them are focusing on sustainability, which we know that's a concern with some consumers, the over-tourism in different ports. And these smaller ships allow these more intimate experiences. So thank goodness these have come into the market because it's been a great asset to Protravel. And our advisors have learned to sell it differently too. It's not just about getting on a big cruise ship and you don't have to worry about anything else for the clients. You're doing the pre and post, you're doing private shore excursions, you're doing different things. So it's not just selling a cruise and that's it. It's really bringing in all of the land opportunities as well.
Now, are your advisors seeing? There's going to be incredible expansion in the luxury expedition
Yes.
field. Are they seeing actually a demand from customers to do that?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. They are really. I mean, again, some of our sectors of the cruise industry that has grown the most has been in that expedition cruise category because clients want to do it, multi-gen families want to do it. They, again, want to go into those destinations where big ships can't get and the expeditions can get there. So, yes.
No, and well, I wouldn't want it to be building all these ships and nobody comes.
Absolutely.
and yeah, you'd be in trouble then. You got things coming, but I think
We're building them and they will come.
They will come. If you build it, they will come.
And we will
that.
fill them.
There we go. Let's move to hotels. I just got back, last month in December. We were at, most of us, I know you were ILTM, which is the big luxury hotel show in Cannes. And if you can think it, they are building it. Talk about if you build it, they will come. There's more expansion in luxury hotel product at all different levels than I've ever seen before. Incredible stuff. How can travel advisors and the travel advisors in this audience sort of keep track of everything. It's really hard. I know Ignacio's great. He knows all about every hotel known. Ignacio knows. So, but not everybody has that ability, I think, or necessarily wants it. We'll see. How do you differentiate the products offered by these luxury hotels and determine the right hotel for the right customer? And I'll start with you, Becky.
Well, the travel industry is all about relationships. So having relationships with these small hotels that are coming into the market are very important. We at Protravel are very lucky because we have a lot of new product that partners are wanting to come in and educate our advisors on, making sure too that we identify how the property or who the right client is for the property, and educating our advisors either through webinars, through our intranet site, again, in-office visits, shows like ILTM, Virtuoso Week, Pure, I mean, you name the number of shows that are out there. It's really important that these advisors go to these shows to learn about them. So we really encourage our agents to go and go out to the shows. We even work with them, the shows individually, to make sure we have the right agents going there, advisors I should say, going there and getting educated and then coming back and sharing that information internally. So we have all kinds of venues, avenues to educate our frontline advisors.
Well, the thing is, I think hotels is actually the really next frontier, if it already isn't here, for travel advisors, because we've been talking about cruise a lot,
Right.
And there's such diversity in product in hotels that it's completely bewildering, even to the most upscale customer. And the only person I think is a guide like a travel advisor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, John, you're in the tour, but you also book a lot of hotels especially now with Luxury Gold. How do you discern what hotels to use and also communicate that to your customers?
Well, I think that's one of the things that you see with a package program that is a misconception, that you have access to some of the world's best hotels. Like one of the examples that I like to use is Ashford Castle, which is in Ireland.
And also a sister company, right?
Also a sister company owned by the Tolman family, but recognized as one of, if not the best hotel in the world. That's something that you wouldn't be able to put your guest on necessarily during peak season because it's difficult to get into. So by having a packaged product, you're able to offer that high caliber hotel that you may not be able to have access to on your own. And it's not just, and it's important for you to feel comfortable to say, this is a more expensive property, and this is why. So, for example, one of the things that they do at Ashford Castle is they do something called the Hawk Walk. And what you're able to do is it's like a falconry, and you can go on a walk through the woods, and you give a little piece of meat and a little piece of cheese to these hawks. They're not actually falcons. And you'll feed them, and then they'll fly off, and you'll walk a little farther, and then they'll land on your arm. There, you have a nice leather thing. Don't worry here, and then you'll be able to have this very unique experience, this falconry experience called the Hawk Walk at Ashford Castle. So when we look at accommodations now, it transcends just someplace to sleep or someplace to eat, and you need to be able to communicate that experience to your guests. And what we see with the guided vacation space is you're able to have access during peak times to these properties that you would not be able to experience on your own.
No, that's a great point. And I know, I got closed out of Ashford Castle last year for some reason. Some prince or somebody took the whole thing out. Who knows? Anyway, Carmen, I want to go to you first because you are on the cruise side, but you're seeing all this product out in hotels. What's your view of what's going on in the hotel space?
So I'll share my personal view as a consumer. And first of all, I don't know how our travel partners do it because you have so many choices. But I really think it's about having, and Becky, you hit it spot on. It's relationships. It's really access, and that is only created through relationships and being a specialist. So I'll give you, and I won't name the hotel where I was, and my colleague said, why do you stay there every time you go to New York? I have a relationship with them. They text me. Doris texts me and says, Ms. Roig, we can't wait to have you back again. They welcome me back. I feel like I have a crystal experience every time I'm at that hotel. By the way, it's not the most expensive hotel. It's not the most luxurious hotel. But I have a personal relationship with the hotel. So I always think if you're a specialist and you have a relationship with any supplier, by the way, against whatever you're selling, whether it's hotels, cruises, it is about a personal relationship where, because by the way, when things are great, all suppliers are there for you. When things go bump in the night, and they do, it's Murphy's Law. It's who is there to help you and make sure that they solve your situation. So that's why it's so important to have that personal relationship and the access. So, John, when can I book? Ashford Hassel, thank you.
Right after I booked my Crystal Cruise.
Bingo.
There you go. We got a trade here. I think we got a deal. Ignacio, you developed the hotel programs for several major consortia over the years, including Signature. You're now overseeing all the luxury. How do travel advisors deal with this choice in the market with hotels and just the explosion, in the hotel and resort space?
A couple of things come to mind. One, I agree with you. It's overwhelming. Even for those of us that have been in the business 40 plus years, as I have, it's very hard to stay on top of everything. I think, number one, you need to join a strong network that has a good portfolio of preferred hotel partners. You need a curated, vetted, up-to-date collection that is refreshed every single year. Number two, you need access to valuable privileges. At Signature, we have a great portfolio of partner properties, and every one of them provides special benefits and privileges to our clients that they wouldn't get otherwise. I agree with Becky that relationships are really important because this is a business of relationships, but you also need a team of professionals at headquarters that has your back. So whenever something goes wrong or you need help, you need advocacy and somebody that is going to pull strings to help you out. And I would say, finally, you need to depend on the expertise of the advisors that we have in the network. We have over 7,000 advisors, and they are feeding us information daily about, I was just in Rome, I was just in Tokyo, I got back from New Guinea, this is what I saw, I think this is really important. And that constant conversation keeps the collection fresh and vibrant and up to date. But I agree, it's a challenge.
Yeah, and I'm going to stick with you on this next question. I'm going to get your opinion and Becky's opinion first. Is there are everyone wants to sell luxury, right? That's and not everybody can, but if you can learn how to do it. So how can travel advisors turn themselves into better sellers of luxury and high-end experiential travel? So what are the kind of sales tools and training they need? And really, how can they elevate themselves to that category?
I think, first of all, you need to join a strong network that has a good position in the luxury space to give you the resources and to elevate your skills and provide you with the resources. I think the days of selling luxury travel and being the Lone Ranger are over. You really have to join with an organization that can help you. That's number one. Number two, I would recommend that you focus on your clients and you really get to know your clients well, because you'll find that in many cases it's the 80-20 rule. Only a small percentage of your clients are really going to be the ones that are going to do the best business. So those are the people that you really need to get to know. I think number three is you need to read. You need to be like a good doctor that stays on top of every last medicine, and you need to do the same so that you keep your teeth sharp and you're up on top of all the latest information. I would say you need to personalize your marketing to showcase your ability and your unique presence. And I would also recommend that you specialize because it's very hard for you to be all things to all people. I mean, I could go on, but I want to give everybody else a chance.
Okay, I will give Becky a chance now too. The same.
I just want to say, if you haven't, Ignacio writes a top 10 emerging destinations for the luxury segment. If you haven't read that, it's one of the best reads in the industry. So Ignacio is being humble. His list is spectacular. Everyone in the industry follows it if they're intelligent.
I totally agree, and now he'll give you your 10%, right?
Well, at Protravel, we really focus on the agents who are, one, serious about their business and becoming a luxury travel advisor. There are no real there are no travel schools out there anymore. So we've really had to take the lead on setting up a mentoring program with other luxury advisors for new entrants. But even the current agents, we've also developed some training program, and we'll be launching a whole new luxury travel advisor program very soon on training and development, because there is nothing out there that really will train a good agent. So that's a big focus. We also we really have at Pro, we have Ask Pro. So if any agent gets into a situation where they don't have an answer for a client, they can go out to our other agents, Ask Pro. They'll get feedback from everyone within our network. So really, again, customization, personalization, really specialization, all the you say, is really going to be important to setting yourself apart as a luxury travel advisor. So those are all tools that we're helping with and making sure that they have these at their fingertips.
No, it's great. And there
James,
are, yes.
If I could, just a couple of things I wanted to add, and Becky's absolutely right. The whole training component is really important, and for this reason, we really looked within and thought, okay, what is it that Gandhi said? You have to be the change you wish to see in the world. So we took our office in Los Angeles and left it and went to another building where half of the office is an office and half of the office is a training center. So we have our own training center where we can train 28 consultants at a time, and we launched a new program called Embark, and every single person in the company is involved because we have a mission to bring new people into the industry and elevate the skills of the travel seller as the consumer gets more and more sophisticated. So you're spot on. Training is really, really important, and we all have to devote a portion of our time every year to learning and development. I mean, we have our show in Las Vegas every year, and we have 50 different seminars at every different level to choose from, and we run from the main stage to a training room, to another seminar room, but we have to, because we really have to, share the information that we know and the learning that we have had with the next generation so that they can come up the ranks.
And at our new office, sorry.
You have
at
a
our
beautiful new office. I was just there.
And we actually now have an official training room, an state-of-the-art training room that we hope to change the way we partner with our partners, that they don't just come in and have people come in and eat their food, that it really is a return on investment of the time that they're coming in and spending with our agents, both in the office and through webinars out to our home-based agents. So training is huge.
Well, let me get our two suppliers here a chance to help you be better luxury travel advisors. What do you think is necessary to be a great luxury travel advisor, John?
Well, the first thing I would say is to reframe your traditional mindset on who the luxury guest is. I look at travel advisors as value interpreters. So your job is to interpret what is luxury based on what the feedback that the client is giving you there. So we want to look at going from someone that is rich to going to someone who's an experienced purchaser of travel. And when you reframe that from someone being wealthy to someone being an experienced purchaser of travel, if you're someone who sells travel, that's your ideal candidate there. You want someone that not only buys travel frequently, but is willing to spend based on your value interpretation. That's why I advise people, my family, to work through a travel advisor, because they're going to do a good job of telling you what the differentiation between one experience is to another. So the first thing is reframe who that guest is. The second thing that I would talk about is go from tactical to technical. So if I go out and I've spent, Carmen and I have been to thousands of travel agencies here over the last like 10 years for me, 50 or 60 years for Carmen.
80. 80. Very well preserved, John.
I love Carmen. I'm just having fun. There. But one of the things that we talked to these travel.
It only took 10 years for your.
I'm actually a little afraid of Carmen. She's going to take me out as soon as I get off this panel here. But what we're looking at is everyone that we talk to tells us, hey, we want to evolve our guests from a contemporary to premium to a luxury brand there. And so the follow-up question is, well, how do you plan on doing that? And so we look at going from tactical to technical. So tactically, you want to go after this segment. You need to figure out what techniques you're going to use on a day-in and day-out basis with these guests to evolve them to the next level. So one suggestion that I would give you is something called a dream folder. And what a dream folder is you should talk to your top-end guests, and if they say, hey, I'm interested to go on a beautiful Crystal River cruise, you should put that in a folder, and the next time that you see something that Carmen comes up with, you should pull that folder out and say, it goes from a cold leave to a warm leave. They already told you we're interested in doing this. So whether it's a vendor or whether it's a destination like Ireland or a destination like Italy, you should create a dream folder for your top customers, so when you see value that's out there, you can pick them up, you can pick up that folder and go there. And I'm analog in a digital world. You can put that in a digital file. I have a manila folder in my desk. And sorry, Carmen, I love it.
I still have a Rolodex, John, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, Carmen, we'll give you equal time on this. What do you advise travel advisors to do to become better luxury travel?
So, James, just for the record, Wednesday, January 31st is my 38th year in the industry. Thank you very much. Wanted to correct that. And I think what it
She
is
started
really...
when she was 4.
It's specialization. It's really education. It's really, and Ignacio hit it, it's all suppliers have training programs. We all do webinars. I always find it interesting, and they can be very boring sometimes. We record them, we have them there, because your time is valuable. We get that. So we want to make sure we're giving you the access to be a specialist, and it's about relationships, but it's really about training. Get to know the experience. I always talk about it's a profession. We're in the happiness business. We are so lucky. Every day I wake up and I pinch myself and I say, is this really? I'm so lucky. So if you're passionate about what you do, that is conveyed to your guests. When we were launching this new campaign, I go back to the campaign because we've got so many insights from the focus groups. And one of the things is they do a lot of research online. Customers, consumers, they will do their research online. But for a luxury ticket item, they want a travel advisor. They want a person to have a dialogue with who's experienced and can share. And that's the differentiator. It's your unique selling proposition is being an expert and making sure you can speak to the prospect on that brand. And we don't have products at Crystal, we have experiences. So we really always say it is a brand you have to experience. So if you want to be a seller of Crystal, you raise your hand. We want to make sure we put you on one of our brand experiences. So then you're speaking from a true personal position when you're talking to your clients and that you entrust to be our guests. So I think it's about education.
You almost advocate some certain level, you said specialization, and we're not just talking about specializing in amorphous luxury travel, but specializing in the experiences that are out there in the market, and
Yes.
maybe you don't know them all. Maybe you can never know them all.
There's a plethora, right?
Yeah.
Can you know them all? No. So if, to your point, you have preferred partners, they're there for you, you have a relationship with them, and now you are able to really better serve your clients because you can speak from a position of experience and expertise.
Okay. Let's move to the next question. Okay, Ignacio, quick one? Okay.
One last thing, a couple of things. I would say you need to think like a financial planner. Nobody walks into a Fidelity office and says, I want to buy 50 shares of the Oakmark Fund. They sit you down, they get to know you. What are your aspirations? Where have you been? Where are you going? What are you saving for? And you have that whole relationship. And you need to do the same with your luxury clients. You need to get to know them and cultivate them and build a relationship that projects out into the future. Or you have an anniversary next year, let's start thinking about that. You have a big birthday, you have an 8th grade graduation in your family, whatever it is, and then you build those paths the way a good financial planner stays with you until, the very end. You need to do the same.
Absolutely. Good advice. Now let's move to some of the words that we're hearing about luxury travel over the years. I mean, the past several years, the word experiential has really been the one associated. We talked about experiences. And all of a sudden, the new word I'm hearing is something like transformational. And what are the high-end customers looking for now, and what will they be looking for in the future? What word will we be using about luxury travel in the future? Becky, do you want to?
I would say it is intentional or conscious travel because today's luxury clients are really being very intentional about the travel that they're booking and where they're going and who they're taking with them. They want to have, as we've said before, those experiences. They want to get into the cultures of the destination, but they also want time that they can really relax. They want to be making sure that they travel with suppliers who have a good conscience about sustainability. So there's a lot of factors coming in. So it's very intentional about the way they book their travel and where they're going and who they're going with. And they're also looking at over-tourism. They're very conscious about that because there's been a lot of publicity on what tourism is doing to some of our greatest historic cities or destinations. So they're really looking at that as well.
No, and we are hearing a lot more about sort of conscious travel. You're absolutely right.
Right.
Concerns about things like over-tourism, and we've all been to those destinations that are starting to get overloaded, and we've heard about them in the news all the time. John, what word are we going to be using next after experiential, transformational? Where's it going?
I hope everyone uses the word Shazam.
Shazam? I think we disappear after that. I'm not quite sure.
I just like that word. But no, I think that one of the things that you're going to see, and kind of building off of what Becky was saying, is more purpose-driven travel. And so it's going to what Ignacio was saying and what the core beliefs are and the passion and the reasoning behind why people are choosing one destination or one experience over the other. So I would say purpose-driven travel. I think also authenticity is going to be more and more important. I don't think that people want to go and have a contrived experience in a destination. They want to be able to make that human connection, and they want to be able to have a discourse or have a conversation with the places that they're traveling to. No longer do they want to go to a place and just be surrounded by other tourists. They want to go there and find out about the cultural and the people that they're going to. So I would say purpose-driven travel and authenticity.
Yeah, and those are things in the buzzwords now. Now, Ignacio, same question. Where are we going with this?
I think personally that transformational, with all due respect, is ridiculous. I mean, I think if you are a devout Buddhist and spend a week with the Dalai Lama, is that going to transform you? Probably. But if you're spending the night in Philadelphia, all due respect, I love Philadelphia, that's not going to transform
I was
you.
transformed in Philadelphia. I don't know about that.
James, I need to travel with you. So I think the key word is enrichment, because whether you're going to London for a weekend or whether you're spending 3 weeks in Botswana, wherever you go, you can be enriched with the right advisor. And I think that's what people are looking for. I think nowadays luxury is about being, not about owning. I think the owning is over. I have the 20 Louis Vuitton bags in the closet. I don't need a 21st. But I absolutely need to go on Endeavor. Carmen, please.
Yes.
I want to go on Endeavor. So it's about...
You're
it's
there,
about,
I think.
It's about living the luxury, and it's about putting all your heart in it. And if you really are mindful and you are present, then you will be enriched. And presumably you're working with a great advisor that is going to make every single trip memorable and special and meaningful. And I think that you can aspire to and that we can deliver.
Great advice. Now, Carmen, same deal. Where are we going with this terminology and where the future is?
And I would add to enrichment, personal enrichment. So it's so important, time. The more affluent you are, your time poor. So time is so valuable. And I think, Becky, you started with saying we don't use all our vacation time in the U.S. We just don't. And it's the most, I say stress spelled backwards is desserts, right? You need to stop and have an ice cream cone every once in a while, because life is really short. So I think it's about personal enrichment and pulling at heartstrings. So as an advisor, you have the ability in that dialogue, in that relationship with your client, to really act like a journalist. You're taking notes of what it is that pulls at their heartstrings. What do they want? What haven't they done? What really moves them? What moves them? And make sure that you are curating an incredible experience for them. Even if it is a night in Philadelphia. I could sing with Elton John, Philadelphia Freedom. Just
There you
thought I'd let
go. There
know.
you go. You wanna
I
try
saw
that?
Billy Joel last night. I wouldn't say it's transformational, but it was seeing him in New York.
That is
Pretty cool. As
transformational.
I was super. Life is short, right?
There you go.
So
There
you got
go.
to make sure as an advisor that you are making positively sure you know what it is that's going to make that client come back to you time and time again, because it is personal. You know their name. You know their families. It is personal, period.
Okay. Now, I want to return to a question I almost forgot. I gave cruises play, I gave hotels play, I didn't give tours play. Did I not? I did not let you have a chance and the rest of our panel to talk about what is the luxury tour experience? How has that evolved today? What are luxury travelers seeking in a tour? Is it an escorted tour? Is it an independent? You're representing escorted touring, but it's a very different kind of escorted touring than it used to be, right?
Yeah, and thank you very much, James.
Well, can't leave you out.
There. It's building off on some of the things that were already stated here, but it's kind of going more in depth into a destination. So one of the things that we see are kind of these VIP experiences. So instead of just going to the garden of Northumberland, we're getting a tour of the Garden of Northumberland by the Princess of Northumberland. We're seeing that our guests are looking for having lunch with a count. One of the things we do is high tea with the last known descendant of the Habsburg dynasty, and she herself is a princess. And so those type of things that you're not able to do on your own, it's something that they're getting in the very high-end space along with the guided vacations there. The other thing is they're looking for these exceptional dining experience. So 87% of our dining is outside of the hotel. Our dining experiences are spectacular. I actually weighed 100 pounds when I started with Luxury Gold, so I can tell you the food is just incredible. And then also it's looking at more of a small group camaraderie. So our programs max out at 24, which is the top. It doesn't average, it maxes at 24. And again, it's having that smaller, more intimate experiences. So those are the things that we're looking at. Those VIP experience, the incredible culinary experience, and smaller group experience is what we're seeing as the trend in the luxury space.
And you know, there are not that many named luxury tour operators out there in that fashion in the market, and certainly not as many as luxury cruise lines. Becky, what are your customers looking for in that tour experience as opposed to cruises and hotels?
Well, again, as John said, if it's an escorted, it's more of the smaller groups. They want to travel in smaller groups and really have customized itineraries for either their special interest or something like that. But also, when we work with the DMCs or our in-country partners, that's more about customization for our clients, and everything from, you know, if you're in Africa, instead of staying in a luxury tent camp, you're out on a mobile tent camp and having it popped up because it's more personalized. You know, I can't believe they're taking a bath in an inflatable bathtub, but they are, and you know, but they consider that luxury. Mm-hmm. So working and really customizing the trip to what the client desires. But also, clients aren't just looking for a travel advisor to just book their trip anymore. They want recommendations on restaurants. They want to book theater tickets. They want to do all of these things in country or whenever they're traveling. So working with our partners to do those services, even it also adds commission to the agent. Sure. So the agent can earn more. It makes them look like they're more of a concierge lifestyle, you know, advisor to their clients. So really,
and they're also looking for special events and in concert with things. You know, you want to be at a place when something big happens, or some, you know, there's festivals and events all over the world. And often I get there, I said, if I came here a week earlier, I could have done this. So I guess that's what they're looking for, tour.
Absolutely.
Ignacio, same question about tours. I mean, what are customers looking for now?
I would add a couple of things. I think clients are looking for immersive experiences. They sort of want to go from the very best in Rome to the very best in Florence to the very best in Venice, and they want the convenience of products like, you know, what our colleague here, provides. They want the experiences, but they also want in-depth. And they want to be able to do it in a way that is convenient, that is simple, that is curated, and that is, you know, all organized for the traveler. And I would, you know, take that concept, you know, one level up, because you look at cruising, and it basically does the same thing but at sea. And take somebody like TCS, who is doing a phenomenal job with private jet trips around the region or around the world, where you're going from the very best of one area to the other in a way that is very special, that is very unique, that is very authentic, that is really rooted in the destination, and that it would be very hard for you to replicate that.
Yeah, and let's move that to cruises, because, you know, cruises is essentially huge tour operators when whether you're a river cruise where you're taking customers, which is an integral part of a river cruise, and even off the ship into shore excursions and things like that. What are customers looking for now?
So destination, I mean, obviously it's still the number one reason people travel. They want to see the destination. They want to become very immersed in culture. So whether it's ocean or river, or even yacht and expedition is completely about that land experience. So on board, and most cruise lines have it, they all have those excursions, those land programs. We run the gamut. So on river and yacht, it's all inclusive, so you get to choose, and we actually have them in categories. So it could be cultural, it could be artistic, you could do the historical, you could do culinary. The best thing is that we also, again, not keeping with it's one size fits one. You can just have personalized excursions for you. And we had John Stoll, who happens to be our VP of Land Programs, is excellent at actually getting on the phone with our advisors, our partners, as well as clients, and saying, let me customize it. I mean, that's personalization. And we do that in Ocean. He also has created and curated some amazing voluntourism excursions that we include. There's no charge on those on our Ocean. And literally in every itinerary, we include one. And we'll do something where we give back. We've been doing this for 15 years. It's not something that we just started because it's a trend. It's something that we believe as a brand and as a company, it's important. Wherever it is that you travel, you have to give back. It's as simple as that. And John has taken this on. It's his personal passion, and it shows. So when you go on a Crystal cruise, you can go and be part of this You Care, We Care program.
No, I mean, and it is true. Voluntourism, even as part of a luxury program, is something people want because it's, again, an incredible experience, usually interacting with locals, and it's great. We have reached sort of the last question here, and thank you for bearing with us. We only got about 5 minutes left. But the final question I have is, where are we going in the next 10 years? Where is luxury, or whatever we're going to call it, luxury travel evolving in the next 10 years? How will it change? How will it be sold? And will travel advisors and high-end agencies continue to see it as a lucrative niche? And is it really a niche? Carmen, we'll start with you.
I think luxury is really no longer just a small category. It is expanding. And literally, it has to be sold by a travel professional, a specialist. And for us, that's everybody who's in this room. And that is where our success will be with your partnership. So thank you.
Ignacio, where are we going with luxury in the next 10 years?
I think a couple of things come to mind. One, I think luxury is going to expand greatly in the next 10 years. You have companies like, say, Ritz-Carlton and Virgin that are always known for their hotels that are now building ships as we speak. You're also going to have new destinations, places like Bolivia and Mozambique and the Russian Far East and the Azores and Ethiopia, and new destinations. There's always going to be a new frontier. And I would say, number three, no matter what happens, the focus is going to be even more on the personalization and on the wishes and passions of the customer. So never before have you needed to have a good travel advisor, which is really, really important. And I would say that would be my parting message to any consumer that is looking to purchase luxury travel.
Absolutely. Now, John, same thing. Where are we going with luxury?
And just to build off, it's going to be less homogenous, so you're going to see more what's luxury to one will be different for luxury to somebody else, so a little bit more personalization. I don't think it'll be limited to the top 1% of America here. If you would have told me 10 years ago I'd pay $8 for a coffee, I would have told you you're crazy, but now I line up behind Carmen at Starbucks there to do that. And just as you're seeing that what defines luxury for people is those collections of experiences. And so I think that's no longer to be targeted just to the very affluent America here. And again, more purpose-driven travel that you'll see. And then I definitely believe that it will continue to see this being sold through agencies. Again, as the value interpretation, this is more expensive, and this is why that won't go away in the next 10, 15 years.
And that's encouraging news. And Becky, what's your view on where we're going for the future?
Well, it's only on its way up, continuing. From a travel advisor perspective, I mentioned earlier being a lifestyle concierge to their clients, and I really think that's going to continue. So education for the advisors is going to be even more important, and making sure they have those right partnerships. We have an advisor who travels with their client. It goes ahead of time, checks out, makes sure
That's a
everything's
great
set.
job. I don't know about you.
I mean, over Christmas, she traveled with their entire family, and they never travel with.
That is personalization. I
So
think.
that is personalization, and that's where this business is going. So.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all for coming. Please give a hand to our panel. They did a great job.